Disney Dreamlight Valley has been an interesting game for me to experience. Normally, I am not the biggest fan of live service games due to manipulative business tactics that encourage you to never put the game down, or else you may miss out on an event or some other content. But, seeing as the developers behind Dreamlight Valley have mentioned that core parts of the game such as unlockable characters and story elements will never be tied to this release model and that only cosmetic things like clothing and furniture are tied to this system is a really good sign.
Roguelikes are a genre of game that I need to be in the right mood to enjoy, but even when I am not in the right mood to sink tons of hours into a good roguelike, I can still appreciate when a game has a different approach to things. Dungeon Crawler is definitely a game that has a unique twist to your typical roguelike. Instead of using decks of cards, dice, or even simply having easily equipable items to use in combat, Dungeon Crawler has all of its actions locked behind using a claw machine. This adds an entertaining level of randomness to the gameplay. You might think you have the claw position to pick up a few shields and a weapon, but the claw bumping things around may cause a shift that could result in you getting more or less than you hoped. The game is still in early access, and as such doesn't have many accessibility options. The only option that could be considered an accessibility option right now is increasing the UI scale. I made a video about Dungeon Crawler that you can check out in the related video.
Dungeons of Hinterberg is a cool mix between Dungeon Crawler and social game. In the game you play as an employee of a law firm who feels that her life is in a rut. But she hears about this town that has had 25 mysterious dungeons appear around it filled with monsters, puzzles, and magic. As you work your way through the dungeons, things start to seem odd. Some dungeons are far easier than you are led to believe, dark goo spilling into the town's water supply, and a lot of other mysteries that surround the town. The game has several accessibility settings. You can hear more about these accessibility settings through the video below.
I got into Zelda games fairly late. I first played Breath of the Wild in 2019, but when Tears of the Kingdom came out, I was extremely excited. The creative possibilities in this game still blow me away, especially as new glitches to obtain parts you should not have access to are found. The lack of DLC after its release made me lose interest to keep playing shortly after I got around to beating the game. The game lacks any major accessibility settings. In fact, since I have stopped playing, I more recently learned about its accessibility issues being worse than I thought. In a great video released by Game Maker's Toolkit released a few weeks ago, Mark Brown discussed the problems with the Echoes menu and Echoes of Wisdom and went over a variety of ways he would have made the menu more accessible. I thought his video was extremely interesting and proposed some genius fixes. As my channel largely centers around my disability, and because I have no formal education about accessibility, I may overlook possible accessibility issues in games.
It's rather ironic. Factorio is one of the games that first motivated me to make my channel in the first place, and yet, it has taken me nearly 3 years to getting around to talking about it. By this point it is well known that I enjoy factory building games. Something about watching materials move down a conveyor belt in an assembly line I laid out myself has always scratched a particular itch in my head. Factorio initially seems right up my alley because of this. One issue stops me from sinking thousands of hours into it. I find its visual style and user interface incredibly hard to read. Many elements in the game are so similar in color that it all bleeds together for me. I have tried numerous times to sink my teeth into Factorio, but every time I end up stopping for that reason, which is definitely sad, as I have spent countless hours in similar games, but this one is simply hard for me to get into due to its visuals. Looking at screenshots of late-game Factorio gameplay just looks like noise on my screen.
I made a video about Fae Farm 7 months ago. Haven't really touched the game since then. If you have played Fae Farm recently, comment if I should revisit it. Click on the link below to hear about my thoughts on Fae Farm 7 months ago. I really wanted to enjoy that game. Unfortunately, it just felt lifeless and bland.
If you've seen my videos before, you'll know I love cozy games and role-playing games. Many cozy games have RPG elements within them, such as the skills in Stardew Valley. But today, we aren't talking about a farming simulator. Today we are discussing Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. Fantasy life sees you taking on a variety of professions, or as the game dubs them, lives. There are 3 basic categories of lives: combat, gathering, and crafting. With a few minor exceptions, each life in each category plays the same as any other life in its category. The game has a village building and terraforming system. There are dungeons to explore, shrines to complete, villages to rescue, and so much more content that I haven't even mentioned yet. In terms of accessibility settings, the game is lacking in regards to more traditional options in the settings menu. However, upgrades to the crafting and gathering lives can be considered a minor accessibility option, but you can hear more about that and my other thoughts on the game in the related video.
What people assume when I say I am a legally blind gamer. What games look like from 20 feet away? What games look like while I play them? I was born with underdeveloped optic nerves and nystagmus, but have loved playing games since I was real young. Check out my channel, where I review games, while giving my experiences and thoughts as a legally blind gamer.
It's been a while since I covered a city building game, even longer since I covered a city building game with a unique gimmick. Let's change that and talk about Flotsam, a civilization game where your civilization is floating on the ocean and uses ocean trash for building materials. As you progress, you gain access to more efficient ways to salvage debris from the water, build fisheries, farms, homes, and other pieces of infrastructure to keep your city happy and keep the resources flowing in for expansion. In terms of accessibility settings, the primary ones it offers are control sensitivity adjustments, UI scaling, and control remapping. The one accessibility setting that would be beneficial is a reduction in how the buildings move in correspondence to waves. If you have motion sickness issues, this game would be hard to really sink your teeth into without that option. I have talked at length about my love for cozy games and Zelda games. The game Garden Trills is a bizarre combo of those two concepts. You play as a little bird who has moved into a birdhouse in a garden filled with many other bird families. Your goal is to bring gifts to all your new neighbors and reactivate the sprinkler system throughout the garden by using flowers as movement tools. It has a few accessibility settings that you can hear more about in the video below. I have said many times how much I enjoy a good puzzle game, which still holds true with mind-bending puzzle games with puzzles within the puzzles. A fine example of such a game is Gen 2 Rescue. Gen 2 Rescue is a puzzle game where every puzzle is a sliding puzzle, with unique gimmicks that leave me feeling both like an absolute genius and like a numbskull who didn't realize 25 was bigger than 2. But here's why these kinds of games are wonderfully accessible usually. You can take all the time in the world to figure out the solution.
I enjoy occupational games from time to time, things like Supermarket Simulator, Farming Simulator, etc. One game that doesn't quite fit into that same category, but still gives me a similarly calming vibe is the game Geodepth. In the game, you pilot a massive drill and are tasked with gathering resources from an alien planet to use the resources to improve your equipment. Send resources to the company that sent you there, build a base of operations with power management and other various systems to manage. At times the gameplay may seem simplistic, but it is a relaxing game to play while sipping on coffee or tea and listening to YouTube videos, podcasts, or audiobooks. The game doesn't have any accessibility features, which you can hear more about in the video below.
Something that I've rarely talked about in much of my content is my love of hyper-fictionalized Norse mythology, or my love for action-adventure games from time to time. God of War from 2018 ticks both of those boxes, while also having a wide range of accessibility settings that you can hear more about in the video below. However, since I already have you here, I may as well also mention that I am beginning to run low on past videos to make shorts on. I have maybe a few more weeks of old videos to talk about in shorts. After that, expect shorts to transition back and forth from discussing past videos and teasing upcoming videos.
You are probably wondering why I have uploaded a short today instead of my usual long-form content. As I have mentioned in past videos, my life situation is pretty chaotic right now. I do not have a single long-term place of residence at the moment. I am traveling with my mother every few months across the US so we can care for my grandparents. While I would love to be able to sit down and record voiceovers for my shorts and videos, I cannot guarantee those recordings would be usable due to varying background noise. So, over the next few months, if I can record a long-form video, they will still be releasing on Fridays. But if such a situation does not come around, I will release 3 shorts every week as to allow me to make more content for you all. With that out of the way, I would like to discuss golf with your friends, like I said I would last week. While golf with your friends does not have any accessibility settings in a traditional accessibility menu, the settings of each game you play are highly customizable. These settings allow you to adjust things like how many shots you can take per hole, how much time you are allowed to spend on each hole, the severity of time penalties, how many holes you will play, and much more. I first played the game about a month ago while my father was visiting us in Arizona. My mother, father, and I all had a blast playing golf while he was with us. Golf with your friends has been the game to replace Bread and Fred for my mother and I since we stopped playing Bread and Fred. She has enjoyed the simplicity of the controls, while I have enjoyed looking for goofy trick shots to pull off. That is all I have to say about golf with your friends. Next week we will talk about Amber Isle, a fun shopkeeping simulator about dinosaurs.
I hope that if you've seen my shorts before that me mentioning I enjoy cozy games shouldn't come as a surprise to you. I also hope you are subscribed. I'm only 6 away from 100. Normally this is where I would talk about a cozy game, tell you whether or not it has accessibility settings, tell you to check out the related video, and we both go our merry ways, but today's game is a weird case. It isn't like any other cozy game I've talked about. Yeah, there are characters to become friends with, there is gardening, but there's no decorating, and gardening in this game is a lot more involved compared to most cozy games. That's because Grimoire Groves isn't fully a cozy game. At its heart, Grimoire Groves is actually a roguelike. See, while most roguelikes represent different attacks with various weapons, in Grimoire Groves, your attacks are based around gardening. The enemies in the game are sentient plants that need magic to root them to the ground. While most roguelikes may use bombs or grenades to do AoE damage, in Grimoire Groves you place down temporary pools of magic that the plants drink. The game as a whole takes a normally very violent genre and has put a cute gardening spin to it all. In terms of accessibility settings, there is a slider that allows you to control how much damage the plants can do, even offering the option to have them deal no damage at all, which makes the whole experience very relaxing. If you want to hear more about Grimoire Groves, click the related video.
The film Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out before I was born, but it was still a relevant film when my older siblings were kids, so it was a movie that I was well acquainted with. Conceptually, I thought the movie was cool, but my reason for liking it as I got older has shifted. The game titled Grounded shows off why I like the concept of being shrunk down in a backyard so much. Having to fight for your life and survive when you are the size of ants is really enjoyable. The game has a whole host of accessibility features as well, which you can hear more about below.
My apologies if this short feels scatterbrained. While helping to get things ready for 4th of July festivities, I realized I had forgotten to make a short for today. As such, it is ironically appropriate that I wanted to talk about Haste. Haste is a movement-based roguelike. Instead of fighting your way through hordes of enemies, in Haste you need to move quickly to outrun the void that is chasing you, along the way earning shards to help fix reality, along the way also gathering sparks that are a currency used for buy movement-based upgrades and items. In terms of accessibility settings, there are no traditional accessibility settings aside from UI scaling. However, Haste does give you a lot of control over how many obstacles are in the way, and various settings around that. I am not very good at movement-based games usually, but I had a lot of fun with Haste,